Oh, hey there, superstars. His name is Aaron, and his basement is rapidly flooding right now.
His name's Tommy, and he's the 0.001% of germs that Lysol doesn't kill.
And you're listening to the SuperPod Saga. I'm going to try a different inflection every time.
Dude,
starting like now, episode 71.
No, you need to start doing it like a different accent as well, too. Like, oh, mate, this is the SuperPod Saga. It started Australian, but went like really bad, like Cockney.
Yeah, I could use all two
British.
of my accents I can do.
Do a French accent right now.
I can't do a French accent. That's not one of the two I know.
Yes, you can, Tommy. Do a French accent.
Do fromage.
There you go.
Dexter's Laboratory. Good stuff.
Look at you, man of culture.
Absolutely.
Hey, welcome, listeners. This is the SuperPod Saga. If you're a first-time listener, this is the show where Aaron and I bring a different video game topic to the table every single week, and we discuss it to death until everyone's sick and tired of us talking about it.
Until we're physically ill, sick to the stomach, nauseous, just sleeping in bed for 3 days straight, detoxing that topic from our bodies.
I hope our guest is prepared. He's probably listening like, what?
Hope you brought some kombucha.
Oh, I brought all the things, especially my spacesuit.
Yes, perfect. Teasing the episode subject. And who is that's doing the teasing? What's your name, sir?
My name is Nomad, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, gentlemen.
It's a pleasure to have you. Yeah, Jinx, Coke,
Dang
cocaine.
It.
You owe me cocaine.
Son of a... Nomad, where are you from? What's your podcast? What video games do you like?
So I have a podcast called the Retro Wildlands, and in said podcast, I talk about a video game that I've played before when I grew up, but mostly I'll talk about a game that I've never played before and that I'm experiencing for the first time. On my show, I'll use music, sound effects, all sorts of cool stuff to take people through the opening part of the game in order to kind of explain how it works, what my overall thoughts are on the game, and invoke a little nostalgia along the way. So even if you've never played the game before that I'm talking about, I'm hoping you can walk away knowing a little bit more about the game, be a little bit more informed. Or if you've played the game before, you get all tingly with all the nostalgia feels.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Retro Wildlands is on all the major pod platforms. You can find us just by searching us. But as far as what games I like to think of my taste as being quite eclectic, which is the biggest word I know, and I got to use today. But more than anything, I really like RPGs. Final Fantasy VII was my very first, true blue RPG that I spent my own money on, saved my allowance, and just played to death. I love playing role-playing games even today, or games that have role-playing game elements in them. That's a big sticking point for me. But I really like games like shooters, any type of shooter, side-scrolling shooter, first-person shooter, anything that allows me to riddle my enemies with copious amounts of bullets is always a fun time. And after playing a bunch of retro games, I'm really digging platformers. Sounds like a basic genre, but I never really got into it as a kid. But now it's like, all right, platforming, not too bad.
Nice. Have you ever considered there's this game, little known game, you should talk about? It's Legend of Zelda.
I have heard of it. So Zelda's the girl, right? Or is it the guy?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't think anyone knows. It's
got to be the guy, right?
It's left up to the viewer to decide.
And that there is the legend.
Aaron, where can people find us on social media?
If they really do need more of SuperPod Saga, the canned pears, canned fruit of podcasts, they can find us at superpodsaga.com on, of course, any browser. I don't know why I say that. Superpodsaga.com, previous episodes, blog, leave a review, support page. Our Patron is there, as well as our socials. $4 a month for Patreon. Superpodsaga.com, canned pears.
And we have a Discord.
Oh, yeah, that'll be there too. I apologize. Yeah, Discord is there. Sorry, Tommy. Please don't hurt me.
No, I can't even reach you. We live in different cities.
Okay.
But yeah, and the Patreon, you could give us money for fun, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, you get cool perks. You get an exclusive cool title in the Discord server, which lets you pick out cool stickers and emoji. Well, No, not stickers, because we don't have boosters. I don't know how Discord works. You get bonus episodes. There you go. There you go, people.
There you go. Yeah. And what's our? I picked the topic for today?
Yeah.
Aaron, ask me what the topic is today.
What's the top? What's the topip today, Tommy?
Boys, today we're going to talk about space games.
Woo!
Games in space.
I'm trying to make like a theremin sound. Ooh! No, that's like Beach Boys.
Is.
It's the instrument, the electrical instrument they use to make like space, like spooky sounds.
Okay. That's cool, Aaron.
I'll put a theremin sound effect in here, so then when this episode comes out, you can listen to it and you'll know. You'll be like, oh, Aaron's a pretty wise guy. He knows what he's talking about. Theremin.
Yeah. But before we get to our opinions and more discussion about the theremin, we asked the Discord people what their favorite space game is, and we're going to read their answers word for word because that's the name of the segment.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Do you want to start, Aaron?
Oh yeah. All right. Yep. First one, Drakus Beast King. He says Dead Space and Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Yes, I hadn't even thought of Super Mario Galaxy being one, but it totally is. That's 100% in space.
Never would have thought of that.
Exit E_X_I_T says Super Metroid.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, you weren't here with him, but that's Tony from PlayStation Rumble. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Jay, Super Bracket Bros, he says +1 for Dead Space and also FTL. Oh, FTL is awesome. Oh, God. Don't you know?
Tough. That's FTL a tough game there,
so
don't
good,
you know?
Don't you know? Yeah.
They got those tough mechanics.
And the space, yeah.
It's in that space. Anubis Hero said Outer Worlds, Deep or Dead Space.
Outer Worlds is...
When are we getting that Outer Worlds sequel?
What? I always get the Outer Worlds and the Outer Wild mixed up. Outer Worlds is the...
That's the RPG.
Okay. Dave, remember 64, Metroid Dread or Zero Mission, or if I'm allowed to cheat, anything Star Wars. Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, you can cheat. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a video game in space.
Uh-huh. Metroid Zero Mission is a fantastic pick, by the way. Good stuff.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, another game that is absolutely in space.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, Revival and Extinction says Mass Effect and Dead Space. That's 2 votes for Dead Space. It has space in the name.
Yeah, that's... Fuck. Bachwheel, he says, I'm a big sci-fi fan, so all the Metroids, Mass Effect, FTL, +1 for FTL, and I guess Metroid. Also, not sure if you count an Alien... What the fuck? An Alien World as space... Oh, okay. Sorry.
just read it, Aaron.
I saw the capitals, and I was like, this is the title of a game, but then... My bad. So, also not sure if you count an Alien World as space, but Axiom Verge, if you do. Also, Star Control 2, or even better, Starflight 1 and 2. You can see the lineage of these games in Mass Effect, and also the best Star Trek game, Star Trek TNG echoes from the past.
Man,
Axiom Verge is fucking sick.
So far beyond anything I know. Those games I've never heard of.
I've never heard of, what is it? Starflight or Star Control.
Either. Nomad from the Retro Wildlands said...
How'd he get in there?
Who the hell is that?
So I wrote in an answer. Has to be Dead Space 2 for me. While the franchise itself is a great example of some awesome outer space set pieces, the sequel stepped it up by having you in actual outer space more often. It was breathtaking, just like actual outer space. Loved it. Bad pick. Bad choice.
Yep, -1 for Dead Space.
Now, I don't know about that one, gentlemen. Something about how that individual sent their comment in and worded the way it did, to me... I don't know, but you guys have your opinions.
Didn't Dead Space 2, was that the first one that let you do like little jet boots in space and like jet around? Or was that also in the first Dead Space? I forget.
I think in the second one, you can kind of free move around with the jet boots and stuff like that. The first one, you had to like pick a point and you can gravity boot your way over to the wall or whatever, it was fine, worked okay, but I don't know. Say what you will about it, but for me, just being in actual space and looking around and thinking, this is it. It was exactly. It was done well. Presentation was good. I always really liked it. And then they went to Dead Space 3, and then
no, we don't talk about that. Let's change the subject real fast. We're not talking about Dead Space 3 on this show. Chan, he says, for me, it's definitely No Man's Sky. The VR update is incredible.
I'd love to play that in VR.
I still I have not played No Man's
I would get
Sky,
so
but it looks
sick
a lot
flying
better.
the ship around. Go, hobo, go.
You just got...
Go on,
Your
Aaron.
pants are caked in vomit.
Jessica,
look.
I'm having so much fun.
Look, Jessica.
It's so real.
Okay, go ahead.
Go, hobo, go, said the Mass Effect trilogy, which is a correct answer.
The +1 for Mass Effect, yeah. Nerf Herder, I guess, yeah, I'll do both of those in a row since I'm just there existing. Nerf Herder says, StarCraft 2. And then after some idiot named Scabzilla says something, he says StarCraft 1 plus Brood War 2, of course.
Oh, so all the StarCrafts.
Yeah.
And then closing it out is Thrak. He says, gotta be Mass Effect, the whole thing, which
The whole
I believe
goddamn
includes
thing.
Andromeda.
Are you sure?
I mean, he says the whole thing.
That's true. Oh, Thrak. Oh, how you've fallen from grace.
I don't know. I look at it this way. Some dinners may not have great food on the entire plate, but together it's a decent meal.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
That's a good comparison. Yeah, Mass
just-
Effect Andromeda is the lima beans of the whole series.
There you go. Just trying to help you out, Thrak. Nomad's got your back.
Thanks for the answers, people. Like we said earlier, if you want to answer questions and then we read them on the show, you can go join the Discord and then answer the questions. Then we read them on the show.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yeah.
I mean, people who, yeah.
Thank them. But now it's time for the experts to talk. The real go-getters, the up-and-coming young whippersnappers, here to talk about video games.
That's
in
right.
space.
That's right. Aaron said as he snapped his suspenders against his
Man,
shoulders
let's just
if he
start
has
talking in
suspenders.
third person.
Yes.
I'm going to start because I picked the topic. And
Okay.
I'm going to talk about a game that no one mentioned. Kerbal Space Program. I love Kerbal Space Program.
When you actually get to space in that game, do you actually fly around in space, or is
You
it just like...
can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. It's so if you don't know, Kerbal Space Program is like essentially a rocket building game. It's the science is super hardcore. Like the tutorials teach you about retrograde and prograde and thrusters and gravity, and it is a lot to take in and it's a lot to learn. But the best part about playing the game is failing miserably over and over again, despite you thinking that you understand what's going to happen. Like some of the first rockets I built, I was like, I've gotten everything lined up exactly where I want, everything set where it needs to be, and I hit the launch button and my rocket goes up and then turns and crashes into the ground, killing my astronauts.
Poor Kerbals.
Yeah, another great thing is you have a little window on your screen that shows your little Kerbal astronauts as they're in the rocket, and when things go wrong, the lights start flashing in their cockpit and they're screaming and wriggling about.
I feel so bad for laughing about them, but I mean they're little virtual creatures. So
Yeah, they're
whatever.
little cuties.
Virtual cuties.
Yeah, I've heard of this game before, and I went to go look it up, and that was the first thing that stuck out to me is the graphic design and how these little people look. They're like little green minions, sort of.
Yeah. Very minion-like.
Banana.
Yep, there we go.
One of the most interesting things, at least for me playing it, is it's not like you build the rocket and then you control it and there's a bunch of buttons to do whatever you want. You actually have to do it in stages. So, like, once you start your rocket, it's going to go until the fuel runs out. And then once you have to disengage it after, and you have to like build all these steps in order. If you put something out of order, then you can't do it until you do the thing before. It takes so much planning, so much forethought, and like so much getting everything right. The closest I ever got was I finally got everything working perfectly, and I had my capsule going towards the moon. I forgot to put rockets on the capsule.
Oh no!
So I couldn't slow him down. I was so happy. I was like, everything's going great, and I was like, okay, now we just need to slow down. So, oh no! All I could do was watch him as he crashed into the moon.
They're still up there to this day.
Yeah, the debris is.
Oh, poor little guys. Yeah, games like this, I really like these only because, well, kind of look at them two different ways. On one hand, it's very time consuming. You're putting all this forethought and planning, but then once it actually works, that payoff, there is no better dopamine hit than that.
Absolutely.
But then at the same time, when you put all this thought together and you find out that, well, it's not going to work and my little dude's going to die now and I've just lost all this time, it could be a little frustrating to some, but
Totally.
still, I love games like this. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to there's some... Thank you, my friend. There's an element of you have to train or keep a crew higher fire, that kind of thing. Am I wrong here?
If you want to, there's probably a mode for that. I just played in the creative where I had access to everything.
Gotcha.
Just build freely.
Yeah, that's how I would play it. Just give me the Legos. I'll build the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And it always you get such great stories, which is crazy because it's literally just building rockets and then executing your plan, and that's it. But so many great stories come from it. What a fun game! Wish the sequel was good, but everyone says it's bad.
Oh, how is it bad? Is it not just like more of the same, pretty much, or did they dumb it down, or what's...
Well, they sold it to 2K, and the real team isn't. I don't believe they're there, so it's like a different team making it, and it's under a publisher now instead of indie, so it's got all the money stuff.
Microtransactions, or
it's like a full price game where I think the original was like always super cheap, and it's only in early access and it's full price.
Well, that sucks farts. God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of games that do not suck farts, Deep Rock Galactic.
Ooh, yeah.
Boy, what a game. So Deep Rock Galactic is a I guess it's kind of a roguelike a little bit. Basically, so it's a first person shooter, it's cooperative. You and up to 4 friends. You can pick one of I think 4 different classes, and each class does different helpful things. Like my main man is, I forget if it's I think it's the engineer. He can throw out a turret, and that helps. That helps. Thank you, Tommy. That helps out a lot when you're just trying to dig for stuff, and enemies are bombarding you. Throw out a turret, it'll blast the piss out of them. And of course, yeah, each class has different weapons as well too. But there are different upgrades that you could do for their abilities. Like you can upgrade your turret so it has either more armor or a faster rate of fire, stuff like that. But then there's also the scout. Their thing is so normally in when you're going through, I guess a planet or whatever in Deep Rock Galactic, it's dark. There's no civilizations there, no light or anything like that. Especially when you start going deep underground, there's no light. You have this. I think it's your B button is what you use to throw a glow stick, and the scout has this special ability where he can shoot I guess a super glow stick at the ceiling or a wall or whatever, and they last a lot longer, and you don't have to wait for them to recharge as long as you would your normal glow sticks. And then there's I think Assault is the big gun guy. He just has more guns and bombs and shit. And then I forget what the other one is. No, the Digger. He has drills. He has a drill to dig faster. And it's super fun to just get some buddies together, pick a mission, and then the missions get even more difficult as you go along too. You'll start off with just gather 16 of this material, and then it'll go to grab this many eggs from this many alien nests, and each time you pick up an egg, it triggers a wave of enemies that come barreling after you. And it's so satisfying to upgrade your guns or buy different guns and try out different loadouts and see what works best, and especially if you're coordinating with your buddies. It's so good. It's on Xbox. I think it's on everything actually now. It's even on PlayStation, but the Xbox and PC are cross-play. Unfortunately, it's not cross-play with PS4, which sucks. But it's great fucking game.
I played that for a couple of hours, and I was pleasantly surprised at it's weird to try and fit it into a genre, like you said, because it's basically just you pick whatever kind of mission you want to do, and then go do it. You pick the difficulty you want, and I thought that was really cool. I thought it was I don't know what I thought it was, but I was surprised that one of the missions I remember was you have to connect pipes to an engine or energy source or something to get them flowing, and that was really hard. And my team
you can grind along the pipes too.
Yeah, which was cool. And my team was really struggling, and I was like, well, let's see if I can build a platform here. I built in the wall, and then they were able to connect the pipes, and I was like, look at me. I'm a regular old Deep Rock Galactic miner.
That's right. And then another cool thing that I guess helps to keep it fresh is that like the caves or planets or whatever, they're all procedurally generated, so they're not always going to be the exact same. And yeah, the environments are totally destructible also. So if you throw like a grenade or whatever and blow something up, it stays blown up pretty much. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah, really neat idea for a game and really well executed.
And you can get drunk as fuck in the spaceship you start in. There's like a little bar. You can order different kinds of beers, and there's cool descriptions for them, and you can just get fucking wasted and like dance and stuff.
No, thank you. I'm going to stay sober while I do my mining.
Oh,
That sounds dangerous, Aaron. I'm telling OSHA.
Well, that right there has sold me on the game. I've heard of this game. It's on my radar. I mean, it features, and I quote from the internet, badass space dwarves. But
they are.
But just knowing that I could make a conscious decision to go to work drunk or not drunk, I mean, to me,
awesome.
that's freedom to the player, and there's no better game mechanic than that.
It's also another like goofy. There's a button specifically for, I wouldn't say like taunts. I'd say like cheers. So most of the time they'll say like for rock and stone, yeah. But like sometimes they'll say something different, like yeah, baby. But most of the time it's for rock and stone, yeah.
That sounds like a Lord of the Rings chant.
It
love
does.
it. For rock and stone.
Exactly, precisely. Speaking of rocks,
What about you, Nomad?
All right, so
rocks.
When you guys presented me with this topic, there was one game that came to my mind immediately. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know how many people have actually heard of or played this, but let's find out. So I can't remember who, when we were reading off the community comments, mentioned Star Wars. But my mind went to Star Wars TIE Fighter. It was released back in 94, I think it was. It's kind of akin to the X-Wing series, but in TIE Fighter, you're a TIE Fighter pilot for the Galactic Empire, and it's one of those games where you get to play the bad guy, and I love games that let you be the bad guy. It takes place in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, but really you're flying missions for the Empire, whether you're tracking down rebels or you're escorting cargo ships to their destination. It's all from the viewpoint of the Empire, and you're just a good little soldier that does what he's told. But it adds a lot of interesting flight mechanics to it. I'm not much of a flight sim guy myself, but I remember playing this game with my best friend Chris. I'd sleep over his house like every other weekend, and he had a flight stick controller. I would actually fly the TIE Fighter around. He would use the keyboard.
Damn it, that's cool.
Oh man, he had the keyboard that would match speeds with the enemy, or move my shields to my weapons so I can inflict more damage. I mean, it was awesome. And then the ending of the game goes right into the Return of the Jedi, where it's like, oh, well, I've done all these badass missions for the Galactic Empire, and the Death Star is almost complete. I'm sure everything will be fine.
You did it. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, but something about that, and maybe it's just me spending all that time with my buddy Chris when I was growing up with it, but it was a really intuitive game from what I remember, and again, I love playing the bad guy. Anytime I can do that, it was awesome. So yeah, Star Wars TIE Fighter. If you haven't played it, find a way. I'm sure there's a way. Gaiares.
Yeah, I've never played it, but from what I understand, Star Wars Squadrons was influenced by it. It has that same system of moving energy from your shields to your weapons to your engine, and it's such like a tiny feature, but it makes everything feel so much cooler. Like when you're getting hit and you're like, gotta shift all this to the shield, and then you turn around and attack, it's like time to pump it into the guns. It's so great.
Exactly. It's very intuitive for what it is, but it's not overbearing in that you're so lost in all these different controls and stuff. I mean, you don't have to do any of that stuff really, but it's there if you want it. And chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss, everyone.
Well, this took a turn.
We really appreciate our chefs.
Very good.
Yes, chef.
Speaking of things I appreciate, my next pick is the Outer Wilds, not the Outer Worlds, but the Outer Wilds.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on, Aaron.
No. I was going to ask which one it is, but I mean, you're going to say it. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, this is the one with the 22-minute time limit, where the universe resets itself every 22 minutes, and you have to figure out how to make that stop happening. And it's a game that like shouldn't work as good as it does, because you are actually flying from planet to planet. and the entire planets are explorable, but they're like bite-sized planets so that it never feels overbearing or you don't know where to go. They do a great job of putting points of interest that make it super obvious. Like as you're flying towards a plane, you're like, there's a big tower, I should probably go there. And the fact that you can go down, go into the tower, go into the buildings, or like go into the planet and explore caverns and stuff. And each planet is so insanely unique in its own thing. Like there's one planet that's just completely covered with water that has tornadoes all around it that shoot you back out into space. Another one is completely crumbling in on itself. So as you're exploring it, giant chunks of the planet are getting sucked into the middle, and you have to try not to let that happen to you. It's just, and you have to redo it every 22 minutes. Every 22 minutes you start back on your home planet by a campfire, and you have to go into your ship and figure it out. You don't take anything with you except the knowledge you gain. And it does my favorite thing in games that not enough games do, in that the unlockables you get are knowledge of how the game works.
That's cool.
You learn.
So like, sorry, kind of like the manual from Tunic, almost.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Everything is available to you right from the beginning, but you don't know that those things exist until you go out into the world and find them. Like how the physics of the world work in weird ways, and how the planets work, and figuring out there's like a fast travel system which they don't tell you about, but if you go into a building and find out how it works, you're like, oh cool, I can just go from planet to planet now. That's neat.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, games like this sometimes run the risk of being a little too repetitive because you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. But like you said, the way they implemented the mechanics and the planets aren't too big, really, and you don't find yourself getting overwhelmed, really. It's done really, really fucking well. And I love the idea that your time's not wasted. Anytime you go out and you learn something new, you can use that for your next run, and the game actively acknowledges that. So, yeah, it surprised the hell out of me. Good pick.
And some of the later game stuff on one of the later planets is some of the most terrified I've ever been playing a space game. Just clenching every single muscle in my body as I'm like hoping that things don't happen.
Speaking of butt clenching, I'm going to break them out a little bit. I'm going to go with the game from the Sega Genesis. I want somebody to guess what game it is.
Sonic.
No.
That's the only one I know.
I mean, you are in space in at least one of those games, I think.
It's not Sonic, though.
Shenmue?
No, it's Gaiares. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, you know it. No, I was kidding. No, so Gaiares is a shmup on the Genesis. Came out in 1990 or whatever. But you're flying through space. I just discovered this game maybe like a couple months ago or so, and it's really cool. I guess like the coolest part about it is that there's so in other shmups, usually when you destroy an enemy, they'll drop a power up, and you just collect a power up. Different power ups do different things. So you can either get a little spinning shield thing, you'll get little homing missiles that come out, but not in Gaiares. Oh no, sir, no. You throw a little capsule out, or no, you have this little pod. I guess that's attached to your ship, but you can like throw this pod out at enemies, and it'll not only destroy the enemy, but you'll basically take their weapons, and you can just keep doing that to the same enemy and increase the power of that weapon over and over. And there's some bigger enemies that you can throw your pot out at and then take their weapons and just be overpowered for a little bit. And that's pretty much it. It's a horizontal shooter, and it's in space. You take enemy weapons, and it's really, really, really cool. I just wanted to not talk about I was originally going to talk about one of the Metroids, but I thought, no, let's do something different here. Let's do something a little bit different.
Yeah, you are a different guy. It took me the entire time you were talking to figure out how to spell it to find it in Google.
It's different. Yeah.
It's like funny because that happened to me as well, but we got there. Gaiares,
yep.
I think.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, basically Gaia and a combination of Gaia and Ares, but -1A at the end of Gaia and the beginning of Ares.
Yeah, you just figure it out, people.
Yeah, figure it out.
Nice. Yeah, this is a good pick. When you were talking about taking weapons and stuff from enemies, it made me think of Einhander on the PlayStation 1. Yeah, where you can take the cannons and the machine guns and stuff from enemies and stuff. I don't know if it behaves exactly the same way, but games that allow you to do things like that instead of just picking up a power up to increase your cannons and stuff like that. That'd be a little bit more creative with it. And this game seems to scratch that itch, so it is now officially on my radar.
Oh, if you want another one that's just like that, I think there's another one. Oh, what is it? I think it's Darius Gaiden. I think that sounds right. It's all the enemies are like weird robotic, like alien fish, which is super cool. But you'll throw out like a little what's called a capture pod. You'll throw that out at like some enemies, and even some bosses when they get to a certain amount of health, you can throw a capture ball at them, eat them up, and then take their weapons. It does the same thing there, but there's way more weapons in that game than there is in Gaiares. But it doesn't take place in space, so I didn't pick it.
It's all right. It's still a good pick. Any game that involves eating something to obtain power is, I don't know, it resonates with me.
Yeah, shout out to Quina from Final Fantasy IX. Shout out to you.
Big shout out.
So speaking of the Sega Genesis, I have a PlayStation 1 game in mind.
Beautiful set.
He's got it down.
Actually, this game originally released on PC and then it was ported to PlayStation 1. And this game is a game I grew up with a little bit. I don't remember a ton about it, but it stuck with me. And this is Wing Commander 4: The Price of Freedom.
Ooh, that's a good
quite
subtitle.
Yeah. So admittedly, I don't know a ton about the Wing Commander series. I know there's a lot of love for it out there, but Wing Commander 4, I think we ended up renting it, and I ended up renting it a few times, and it's your typical, space shooter type of game, but really what makes this game unique is it's the story, and you can make choices in the story that's going to influence the narrative, or if there's a mission you complete or don't complete, that's going to influence the narrative. But the absolute best part about this entire game is that the cutscenes are full motion videos.
Oh, yes.
And Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker,
Yes, my hero,
is the main character. Absolutely.
That's fucking awesome.
So yeah, while this is a space sim of sorts, it's always been the story and the narrative drive in this thing. And I love playing through the game multiple times, making different choices to see different parts of the narrative. It's to a point where if you get all the way to the end of the game and you make the wrong choices, the game will end and you will not be the winner. It'll be pretty grim, but the space combat was pretty intuitive. It wasn't groundbreaking or anything, but it was fun. Keeps your attention, as it were. But Wing Commander 4, along with the original Resident Evil, this was one of the games for me that cemented the fact that video games are becoming vessels to tell really good stories. And this one just happens to be in space.
I always love that the first video game with a story that affects you is like the one that sticks with you forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Games, they used to just be chase a high score and punch the block and get the coin and all the things. But once a game, I don't know how to word it, changes you, I guess is what I'll say. Those are the ones that stick with you. Resident Evil was the one for me. Wing Commander 4 was right behind it. So yeah, this is a good one for me.
Yeah.
Holy shit, boys. I was looking through the cast of like some of the previous games. One of them has Malcolm McDowell, which is fucking sweet.
Who's that?
Let me see if there's a game or not a movie you might know him from. What about? I don't know. He was the Dr. Loomis in the 2007 remake of Halloween.
Never seen it.
Okay,
actually, no,
whatever.
I have seen it. That's wrong, but I recognize him now.
Okay,
I don't watch movies, so I was just prepared to say that I haven't seen it, but you picked one I've seen.
Okay, but this person you should know, Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I know him.
You're talking to my guy. All wrong. Say that again, and I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron. Christopher Walken was in those games. Also, the subtitle "Price of Freedom" makes me think of that one song from Team America: World Police, where there's like, or no, maybe it was South Park, but it's like, "Freedom is free. Yes. It costs a hefty fucking fee." No, I think that was Team America.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I thought it was South Park, but I could be wrong. Speaking of games with
freedom,
with a story and not just chasing a high score, you guys talking about all these old games reminded me of the oldest space game I like, and that's Galaga.
Oh, yeah. I had that one on my list. Good stuff.
Nice.
And I feel like I'm going insane because I swear I had Galaga on my PSP, and it was one of my most played PSP games. But I'm looking at the Galaga Wikipedia page, and it doesn't mention PSP anywhere. There was a Namco collection, but I don't think I had the Namco collection because I didn't play anything else but Galaga. So I don't know. I'm going crazy here. But Galaga is an excellent, amazing game. It's
was it Galaga Remix?
I don't know, what's that?
That's Galaga on PSP.
Galaga Remix PSP.
I think it was called the Namco Museum Battle Collection, because I'm looking over at my PSP collection, which is I'm going to pat myself on the back. It's kind of huge. I'm pretty sure I have that.
Okay.
I think
you might be right, Aaron.
Okay.
Galaga
Okay.
Remix. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it says it was unchanged. Okay. Anyways, Galaga is really good because, like, everyone is always like, "Oh, Space Invaders. I love Space Invaders." Space Invaders is trash compared to Galaga.
fucking right.
Space Invaders is just the guys moving back and forth until you kill them. And in Galaga, those ships come at you. They do different flight patterns. They go, and they're shooting at you, and you have to dodge them as they fly at you. That's so cool. And there's a boss ship which will come down and it'll do a tractor beam. And your first instinct is like, oh, I don't want to do that. Gotta avoid the tractor beam. But if you let your ship get sucked into it, it pulls it back to the top of the screen. Then if you blow it up, boom, you've got two ships now at the same time.
What the
mechanics?
fuck?
Mechanics. Game mechanics.
That right there. I used to play this game in the arcade every once in a while, and I remember there'd be kids watching me or people looking over my shoulder, and when I would purposely go into the tractor beam, people were like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'm like, "Hold on, just hold on."
Check this shit out, little Jimmy.
Exactly, and then little Jimmy watches as I blow that ship up, and I get my ship back, but I don't get it back to add to my stock. It's now attached to my ship, and I can shoot twice now, motherfucker. So there we go.
And there's bonus stages after each few stages, which is just like kill as many as you can. You only get one shot, and when you do really good on that, it feels good. Yeah, every time I go to an arcade, Galaga is the first game I go to every single time.
100%. Although I did want to pose this question because I had this down in my notes here. While I love Galaga, it never had like a staying power for me. Like I can put maybe 20, 30 minutes in this thing and I'm about done until maybe a month later I'll go back and love it all over again. Do you feel the same or?
I honestly don't play it except whenever I'm in an arcade.
Fair enough.
When I had it on the PSP though, I played it all the time. Like that was one of my top 5 most played PSP games.
Nice.
Me and my uncle just passed it back and forth to try and beat each other's high score.
That's awesome.
Was it the Minnesota uncle?
It was, Aaron.
Yes! Oh my god, yeah. Strawberry! That's the shout out to the GameCube episode.
Nice. Yeah, I used to play it in the arcades, but we actually got it on PlayStation. There was the Namco Museum Volume 1 on the OG PlayStation, and my mother is not a gamer at all, was never one to play games, but she loved that museum game, and we'd play Galaga, and we did the same thing. We would pass the controller back and forth and try to get a high score. So yeah, that one, love it.
Oh, and that one on PlayStation, that was the one that had like the virtual like museum.
Yeah, that's the one. You walk around, and I'm looking at this virtual museum in awe, having no idea what the hell I'm looking at. But still, it's like learning all these little tidbits about all these old games. I mean, that's good stuff.
It was cool as fuck to just walk. I mean, I had that game as a kid, and I think I played a lot of probably just Pac-Man because I was a kid and I didn't know fucking anything. But it was cool to walk around that like big fucking virtual museum and like see all the cool shit in there because it's just this huge 3D museum with like different machines you can interact with and stuff. It was sick as hell.
Hell yeah.
And speaking of sick as hell games, how about Alien Isolation? Have you guys ever played that one before?
Oh, this one is on my list to play. I cannot wait to play this game.
Tommy, have you played it? Tommy?
I played an hour of it because
okay.
We made an agreement like if we get however many likes or whatever, I'll play it.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was terrifying.
Yeah, it's I'm not usually. Well, I guess I'm not usually scared by horror games because they're usually a lot of the same. It's like you can feel when you're supposed to be scared. I guess is the best way to explain it. Because it'll be like loud sound, enemy jumps up. More loud sounds, enemy goes away. But I guess a little bit of backstory. I'm a really big fan of the original Alien trilogy of movies, like Alien 1, Aliens, and Alien 3. Alien Resurrection and AVP, like they're fun to watch, but they're not as good. But yeah, I really love those movies, and Alien Isolation does such a good fucking job of capturing the I guess yeah, isolation and like how alone you really are in that big gigantic fucking space. Well, I guess not alone, but like just how gigantic the space station is, and it captures that sense of dread. That's what I'm looking for, dread, because it's like danger is around every fucking corner, and you never know it. Like there's hostile humans on board. Of course, the alien is constantly sneaking around in the vents. It could pop out anywhere at any time. There's androids that want to attack you for whatever reason. Face huggers are always skittering along the ground. It's they did such a good job with the alien too, because it's so fucking smart. Like the more you use a certain tactic, like the more you hide underneath, like say a desk, when the alien comes in, it'll learn that. Like if it finds you underneath the desk, like more than a couple times, it'll learn that, hey, I should start looking underneath desks. This motherfucker is going to be there. Then you can kind of use that to your advantage as well too, and go hide in like a locker or like an event or something. And it's just genuinely fucking spooky. Like of course there's no background music or anything like that. All you hear the entire time is just like the ambient, I guess, sounds that you would hear in like a dead as silence fucking space station. Like you'll just be walking along, hearing the sound of your own footsteps, and you'll be looking through your menus trying to like craft a fucking, I forget what you make in the game, flares, a fucking spoon or something, but you'll be like rummaging through your stuff, and all of a sudden you'll hear something skittering along the ground, and you'll be like, what the fuck? And you don't see anything. I don't know. Yeah, it's just a really good game. It's so fucking scary. If you love the Alien games, it's a great fucking game. Or Alien movies. It's a great, I guess, adaptation of that. But one of my favorites. One of my favorite games based off of movies, for sure.
In the 1 hour I played, I was miserable the entire time because I was terrified that something bad was going to happen.
And I think, did you ever come across the alien in your playthrough? I forgot.
No, thankfully I took enough time just going from place to place that no alien ever appeared, but I was still completely terrified the whole time.
Damn, what a shame.
Yeah, that is a shame.
Best case scenario outcome for me right there.
I've yet to play this game, but it's absolutely on my radar. A little bit about me. I love scary games. I love horror games and survival horror. I didn't think to bring it up in the intro, but that's probably one of my favorite genres of games as well.
Nice.
But I love the idea of just putting myself in a situation where the odds are just completely against me and I don't know what's going to happen. And that atmosphere, like you were saying, that's key right there.
Yep.
And I think what this game does well, from what I've heard anyway, I don't have firsthand experience here, is it's one thing to have this creature constantly stalk you and things like that. It can kind of get a little annoying if you have to keep hiding and doing all these things to avoid it and stuff like that. But for the most part, I heard the pacing's pretty good. Like you were saying, human enemies, androids, things like that coming after you, things you got to take into account as well. But just knowing that there's a persistent threat somewhere around you, that's an adrenaline rush that I love. Some people, I've said it before on my own show, some people go on skydiving trips and stuff for their adrenaline rush. Fuck that. I play scary video games, and this is going to be a good one.
Another thing it also does really, really, really well is that, like, you know, like how the whole depiction of the future in 80s movies was like bulky, like dark, creamy computers and like all that stupid shit. The game still keeps that same like 80s depiction of the future where like it's absolutely not what the future would look like, but I mean, yeah, it still does all of that. It's got the goofy little like transparent plastic like key cards. That's what you use to save your game. It's got the little terminals where kind of like the Fallout ones where it looks like it's running fucking MS-DOS, like it's all green text and shit like that. Yeah, it's great.
Great.
Hell yeah.
You know what else is great?
Nomad's next pick?
Ad breaks.
Oh, okay, yeah, we can do that before his pick.
Yeah, Nomad's gonna wait.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Do the Mario, swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario.
Hey, what's up, Super Podders? Tommy here. I just want to give a big shout out to our patrons. They are all wonderful, stand-up fellows. Thank you, Adam, Jameson, Jared, and A Novel Console for your support. It genuinely means the world to Aaron and I to have such handsome, talented patrons. And I truly believe the universe will reward you in some karmic way for being a patron to SuperPod Saga. Thank you.
You got it!
It's really important to stay hydrated. They say to drink 8 to 10 cups of water per day to stay properly hydrated, but sometimes that can be difficult to do and completely inconvenient, and most of us don't feel like carrying a gallon of water with us at all times. But that's where Liquid IV comes in. Liquid IV is the category-winning hydration brand fueling your well-being, and their hydration multiplier is the one product you're missing in your daily routine. In just one stick, you get 5 essential vitamins and 2 times faster hydration than water alone. Use it first thing in the morning, before a workout, when you feel run down, after a long night out, or on long flights. Man, in Iowa, the summers can be brutal. 90 degrees and tons of humidity, and that just saps the energy and water right out of your system within just a few minutes. Luckily, Liquid IV hydrates 2 times faster than water alone, with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It's very important to replace those electrolytes, you know? And I just love how quick and easy it is to use Liquid IV. You just get 1 packet and a bottle of water, and you just pour that packet into the bottle of water, shake the heck out of it, and bam, you are good to go. Since using Liquid IV, I've felt way more alert, active, and just plain better versus drinking water alone. My favorite flavors to go to are the Yuzu Pineapple Energy Multiplier and the Tropical Punch Hydration Multiplier. I can't get enough of those ones. And what makes them even better is, like I mentioned earlier, they're packed with 5 essential vitamins like B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. And again, 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. And they're non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy, which is just great. So you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code SuperPodSaga at checkout. That's 20% off anything when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code SuperPodSaga, SuperPodSaga at liquidiv.com. You have a great one, superstars.
Yo, all together now! Come on now, just like that!
Hey there, Super Podders! You may be wondering how Aaron and I, bumbling idiots that we are, managed to record, edit, and distribute our world-class podcast, the SuperPod Saga. The answer, dear listeners, is Zencastr. Let me tell you more. It is so easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen, knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. It's an all-in-one service! If you have thought about podcasting before and realized that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. With Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast all in one place and distribute it to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SuperPodSaga and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
Take 1 step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now!
If you're a fan of coffee and you're looking for something different, I think we've got just the thing for you. That's Bones Coffee. Bones Coffee is not your usual coffee company. Of course, it's all sugar-free, gluten-free, all that stuff, because it's just coffee, nothing added to it. But they roast each batch of coffee beans to your order, and they've got just a bazillion different flavors to choose from. They've got your usual French vanilla, salted caramel, they've got Irish cream, of course they've got decaf, single origin coffees like Kenya, Guatemala, stuff like that, even what they call high voltage, which is extra strength, extra caffeine, but they have all sorts of other awesome kind of out of the box flavors. They've got ones like cotton candy, maple bacon, and even mint chocolate chip ice cream. And they're always coming up with new crossover flavors, like they've done a bunch for Nightmare Before Christmas, Indiana Jones, even Spider-Man, of all things. And they're also coming up with new seasonal flavors all the time. If this sounds right up your alley, feel free to use the link in our episode description and use coupon code SuperPod Saga at checkout to get 20% off your order. That's SuperPodSaga at checkout to get 20% off your order. And if you're not just in the market for coffee, you can also get some sweet mugs. They've got lots of cool shirts. They've got all sorts of different brewing equipment like French presses, stuff like that. Just head on over to bonescoffee.com, or again, use the link in our episode description and get 20% off. Get yourself a new interesting flavor and spice up your morning routine with Bones Coffee. I really hope you enjoy. I'm a really big fan of it, and I hope you find one that really hooks you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one.
It's the Mario! Do the Mario! Swing your arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step, and then again, let's do the Mario.
Did you have one, Aaron? Because if not, I just came up with one right now.
Oh, I've got two,
Okay,
actually.
do it.
Hey fellas, do you have a house or an apartment or something that has walls? Do you have walls?
Yes, several.
Yes,
Do
indeed.
you have windows on those walls?
Some of them have windows, yes.
Okay, but so do you like those windows but hate the potential threat that windows pose, either when breaking and getting glass everywhere, or somebody potentially climbing through that window?
It happens like every week.
I live in fear of it constantly.
Oh, do I have a product for you, boys? Let me introduce to you guys LCD screen windows. The world's first, only, premier, the best window removal and replacer with LCDers. I don't know. The LCD windows. I'm trying to think of a better name for me while I do this. They'll come in and they'll demolish your fucking windows. They'll take those fuckers out, delete them from existence, and they'll put an LCD screen where that window would be. So, and they can program it to like different windows if you want. So it looks like you have a window, but no one can get through there. You want to know why they can't get through there? Because it's a fucking wall. It's a wall.
Oh.
There's a whole wall there. So no burglars, no fucking birds, animals, nothing. And you can't. If a storm comes rolling through, they usually say, "Hey, don't go near the windows. You can go anywhere the fuck you want in a storm. You have no windows. Your whole life has changed."
So is it an LCD on both sides of the wall?
No, just on the inside. So if you're on the outside, you just see a wall.
Oh, okay. So they won't even try to get in through the window because they don't know it's just a wall.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And because it's an LCD screen and it's got like a little computer inside. Oh, I mean, we'll put a little computer inside of it, but you could choose different windows. You could have a bay window, windows that open vertically, or ones that open horizontally. You could have those like old-timey Wild West saloon windows with the little flappers. You could have... I'm trying to look for different windows because I don't know other ones, but yeah.
For those on a budget, they also offer CRT windows.
Yeah. Scan lines and all, baby. Yeah. Like, I'm imagining those big, heavy retracting arms they used to have on when you would go video rental stores back in the day, and they'd have big CRT TVs on there, up on the ceiling on those arms, and those fuckers were so heavy. I don't know how those didn't fall off.
Yeah, it's like that.
Tommy, what do you think about LCD windows? What's your experience been like?
They're great. I haven't had any more birds flying into my windows because it's a wall now, and when I'm on the inside, it just looks like the outside, but it's not because it's a screen. So
perfect. My
electricity bill is skyrocketing, but the safety I have been afforded makes up for it.
Yeah, fresh air, more like fresh ass, because you could just open your door if you really wanted to. I don't know. Frank, what's your experience been like with LCD windows?
I really appreciate the fact that I can program whatever I want into my LCD screen and create the kind of environment that I want. For example, my neighbor across the way is kind of a dick, but instead I can put a household through my LCD monitor and view the ideal neighbor, which is the one that leaves me the hell alone.
Nice.
Is it the one from Home Improvement, because he gives you advice on life?
Oh, this one does not. Well, this one does give me advice on life. It's the what not to do type of advice.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, I was hoping it'd be the old man Nebercracker from Monster House. Hey, Monster House, everybody. The best quotes ever. Do you want to be a dead person? Stupid. I fucking hate that fucking movie. Did anybody think of a name for this while I was talking?
No.
Not in the slightest.
LCD Windows, everybody. No more living in fear. Live in
happiness.
Live in happiness. Oh, I almost said constant pain. Live in happiness. LCD Windows. Thank you.
Thanks, LCD Windows.
Hooray!
Yo, all together now! Come on now, just like that!
We're back.
Awesome.
Nomad, you can start breathing again. We're back.
Awesome. We went somewhere? Awesome.
Yeah, we're back. You can talk about space games now.
All right, let's do this thing. So,
stop sending me Monster House stuff, Tommy.
All right, so this one I think is a little bit different, but when we're talking about alien isolation, I thought about another game where you're isolated in space with a potential alien, or dare I say, imposter, and that is Among Us.
Yes.
So I don't have a lot of history with Among Us, so I might be leaning on the two of you, but I played this game once, and I want to take you guys step by step through my experience with Among Us. And for those of you that have been living under a rock and don't know what the hell this game is, my understanding is you're stuck on a spaceship, somebody's out to kill you, and you have to identify the imposter before it's too late. And you do that by using a series of sophisticated text messages and communications to fellow team members to decide who the imposter might be. So, one thing that the imposter can do in this game is they can use the ventilation system to go from room to room without being seen for quicker access to isolate somebody and rip out their spinal column with reckless abandon. I remember playing this game my first time, very intrigued, and I saw the imposter go through a vent. So I called an emergency meeting, which has everyone come into a little chat room and discuss whatever they saw or whatever they want to talk about for X amount of time. So I, like the loyal person that I was, said, hey, Blue went into the vents over in this area here.
Narc.
But you want to know what happened? I immediately got ejected when the round was over, and the reason was because I have grammatically correct sentence structure.
Oh, shit.
So someone in the game was like, dude, when you spell words correctly and shit, you're just like, you obviously don't belong here, so get the fuck out. so
funny.
So since I didn't use words like sus, I was ejected. So that was my experience.
Obviously a killer.
Exactly. It's like you're putting way too much thought into this. You must be the killer. It's like, what the fuck? So, but I love the idea of the game. My kids play it, and even our family played it once in the same room. We all jumped on cell phones for a little bit. It was a really cool experience. But yeah, fuck that game and whoever that one person was in particular.
We played that a few times with a group of friends, and I kind of got scared by how good I became at lying.
It's an adrenaline rush, isn't it?
Yeah. My brother-in-law caught me and another person in a room with a body, and I was the killer. And I was like, it's this guy. It's Blue. I saw him do it, Anthony. And so he's like, okay, we're going to vent him. And the guy he didn't like defend himself, which I thought was weird. He was like, I'm not saying anything. Do what you have to do. And I was like, see, he knows he did it. And we vented him, and I won the game. And the gasps from my brother-in-law, like I had just betrayed him. I was like, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, it's a relationship killer for sure.
I
love games like that have to make you be deceitful and things like that. Although the problem with me, I played a game, a board game. I can't remember the name of it, but in real life,
Monopoly,
Risk,
Life. No,
Scrabble,
maybe.
Guess who?
You have to be very deceptive in Scrabble now that you say that, actually, because I don't want people to know that I have a queue, which I can use for some buku points. But But no, I can't remember the name of this game I was playing. It was kind of obscure, but the whole point is to lie and try to get something across the table. But I'm a really good liar. Don't tell my wife. Great liar. But when someone's like staring me like in the eye, I have this like lip twitch that people can see, and I'm terrible at poker and stuff like that. But I don't know, something about it. It's an adrenaline rush. It's almost as awesome an adrenaline rush as having a xenomorph chase you through the air vents. Almost.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got any cues?
I saw they made it in VR, so you can play Among Us in VR. And I saw I don't remember the YouTube creator's name, but he would play it, and it was always kids in there because kids are playing it, and having him run after them and just hearing these children screaming. It's so mean, but it's so funny. They're just running, help, help! And you hear the bomb in the background. What's wrong? These kids killed me.
Oh my fucking god. I can't imagine what that game would be like in like VR and like a first person. It reminds me of like when you unlock the first person mode in Fez, like if it would be like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Also, look in the chat. I put some really great stuff in the chat.
I see all the Monster House stuff. It's super cool.
Yeah, thank you. Oh man, I had some more Monster House quotes I was going to read, but then I found that there was a Monster House game on the DSi, and the models look. Oh shit! The models for the DSi look so fucking stupid. I sent Tommy a T-pose of Chowder, probably the best character from the movie. He's just this fat shit with a cape. But I think it's Tommy's turn to pick it up.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah,
I was looking at Monster House.
I hope it's Monster House. It's Monster House. Is that the next pick?
Speaking of Monster House, my next pick is going to be No Man's Sky, which is, for better or worse, the ultimate space game. There is no game that has more space than No Man's Sky. If you want space, I got a game for you, and it's called No Man's Sky. I was one of those people who was super duper hyped about No Man's Sky before release. I was defending it on the internet from people who said it was going to suck. It was the last game I ever pre-ordered. Because boy, on release, that was not a very good or compelling game. But what it has turned into in the years since is insane. The amount of things you can do that they've added completely for free. They've never charged another $1 for all the stuff. Is just stupid. You can build bases on places and ships and drivable things, and you can just go and explore, and there's infinite planets, infinite life species things, and you can now do it with friends because they added multiplayer too, so you can just run around with your friends, and they keep updating it to better graphics and better systems, and I get completely overwhelmed. I've tried over and over again to try getting into it, but it's so much now. It's just too much. There's too much to do, and it's too much. It's weird because I was disappointed in the first one, or when it first came out, because I was like, there's nothing to do, and now there's too much to do.
That is the one reason I have not played this game yet. I love what it is, what it can do, but something about it being almost too overwhelming. It just I can't get sucked into a game like that right now.
No, and it's just sending nothing but Monster House.
I keep finding like the best. Oh my god! I'm just looking at different stupid. It's like a screenshot of that fat kid from Monster House, but it's all distorted and stretched, and I can't stop. No Man's Sky is it's a good game.
Very insightful.
Aaron. He's gone.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh, speaking of No Man's Sky, I have Monster House on my PlayStation Portable as a UMD movie. I thought that was kind of cool.
Really?
I do.
God. Yes. I need to know what your favorite quote is from the movie once you watch it. My favorite is still and always will be, "Do you want to be a dead person?" Like, why couldn't you just say like, "Do you want to die?" Or like, I don't know. It's just stupid. Hey, is it time for my pick?
It is.
Okay. How about to get my mind off of fucking stupid Monster House? Let's talk about one of my favorite games of all time, and that's SteamWorld Heist.
You do like that game.
So the game takes place in space. Well, I guess in spaceships, but because at the end of SteamWorld Dig 2, the Earth explodes, So yeah, you're steam robots and spaceships in space, and you play the main character. Yeah, is Captain Piper Faraday, and her I guess ever growing gang of space pirates. Well, I guess they are not space pirates. They go off fighting space pirates and other bad dudes that are causing trouble. And it's a like a 2D I guess strategy RPG or tactics RPG, whatever you want to call them. Essentially, each mission you can have. I think it's like either 1 to 3. What is it? Yeah, one to 4 different characters you can bring with you, or maybe 5. I think you get a lot of different characters that'll join Piper's crew. Like Seabrass, I think it's the first one you get. He's got a peg leg and he talks like "Yar," he be talking like this. So I mean, you don't hear his voice, but like they'll have like little speech bubbles, and you can kind of see it with how the text is displayed and everything. And there's just a lot of different characters they'll have the same class, but they'll still play totally different from any other character. Like I said, Seabrass, I think his class is like assault or something like that. So he's like an offense kind of guy. But then there's another assault character you get. Oh, what is her name? It's like Dolly or something like that. She's like some hick farmer chick, and she uses different kinds of weapons and has other abilities. One of my favorite characters is Billy Gill. He's a robot that looks like a fish man. He's got like a little cool little sailor hat, little adorable sailor hat. He doesn't speak. He just says blub or glub or whatever. And I mean, he can use a pistol, but he's way better with just his fists. And if he kills an enemy with his fists, he gets another turn. And so you can just kill an enemy, move to another enemy, kill him, move to another enemy, kill him, and then just move and do whatever. And it's on sale a lot. It's like maybe $7 at most when it's on sale, because it's usually like $15. But it's on, I think, every system but Xbox. Anyway, yeah. So the combat, you'll move your characters in, I guess 2D. You'll hide them, You move characters on a 2D plane in different spaceships, which are procedurally generated, and you'll take cover behind barrels and boxes and shit, almost like XCOM. And instead of like having a percentage chance to hit, like in like Fire Emblem or XCOM, you instead have to manually aim your gun in like different angles, because you can bounce your bullets off of walls and shit. So like if an enemy is hiding behind cover, I mean, you can just shoot the cover out until it's broken, or you can just shoot at the wall behind them and ricochet and hit them in the back of the head. Or you can use explosives, of course, which have a big old splash damage area. But yeah, SteamWorld Heist is really fucking good. I replay it all the time because I don't like playing other games. SteamWorld Heist.
Are you saying it's so good that other games look like trash?
Exactly, yes.
Wow.
Just like Monster House on DS.
Wow.
That's a
quite
thing?
What?
Monster House on DS?
Yeah, I talked about it earlier.
Dude. Yeah.
Look in the
Monster
chat.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been actively ignoring that because Monster House. Oh man, but no, SteamWorld Heist is a good pick, man. Of all the things I take away from this game when I play it is I'm not one for strategy games personally, but I do prefer turn based if I can choose between that and real time. But that bullet bouncing mechanic is just amazing. I love that. You set your people up at the right spot behind the barrel and give yourself advantage, and just when you can bounce your bullet off the right wall or ceiling to hit exactly where you need to hit, it's just a fantastic payoff. It's a perfect example of just a really simple game mechanic that's executed very well. Love it.
Tommy just sent it. It's Kevin. Was Kevin James in Monster House?
He was in Monster House. I'm sorry, Nomad.
Okay.
Oh my god.
No, I'm really glad that you enjoyed SteamWorld Heist though. That's most people are like, what the fuck is SteamWorld? But I'm really glad that you at least know about it, because it's a great fucking game, great series.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Speaking of a great game that is not at all serious most of the time, that'll segue into my next pick.
Good segue.
Yeah, thank you. So going back to the Super Nintendo for this one, this is a game that, I grew up with this one. Like, I don't know if you guys ever experienced this really, but like when you're young and you have like 3 games for like ever until Christmas, you play the shit out of them and you like it. But one of those games for me was Star Fox.
Ooh, okay.
Now, kind of take or leave Star Fox nowadays. I often wonder if it really holds up as well as it did back then, because it's a lot slower than it should be. I think because of the revolutionary FX graphics chip that injected polygons into the Super Nintendo for some amazing visuals. It's a little rough around the edges, all things considered, but I played the crap out of this one. It's basically an on-rail shooter. You play as Fox McCloud, and you have your team, the Star Fox team, and you're going from mission to mission to defeat the evil Andross, who, to my knowledge, is just the head of a monkey with white hands.
Basically, yeah.
But there was just something about this game, and even today, I replayed it for my own podcast, and I really enjoyed going back to it because it's simplistic by nature, but at the same time, it's very fun to play. You can use your shoulder buttons to lean one way or the other to go fast, or if you double tap, you'll do that famous barrel roll that was made famous in Star Fox 64. But beyond that, even though the frame rate can kind of be hit or miss, like I replayed it on my Super Nintendo Classic, and it's got a little bit of jank in there. It's still very charming. It's very fun. It's got 3 different difficulty levels depending on the path that you take to your end destination, and I really like the soundtrack of out of all the Super Nintendo games that I've played up to this point. The Star Fox soundtrack stands out to me. I think it's a banger. Not every track's amazing, but a lot of them are really good, very space age, that kind of thing. But I don't know, something about this game just always stuck with me. And if they ever go back to Star Fox and remake or make another game in this series, I don't want Star Fox Adventures or any of those where he's walking around with his bow staff or whatever that game is I'm thinking of. I want an in-space, on-rails Star Fox game again. I love this game.
I haven't played a lot of Star Fox or even Star Fox 2, like either the SNES ones. I've played a lot of Star Fox 64, and that one is so fucking good. And then I don't think I've played any of the one on Wii U. Oh, Star Fox Adventures, that one, I think that's the bow stuff one you were thinking about.
Yeah.
And Star Fox Assault, that one I played a lot of too. Star Fox Assault was pretty fucking cool.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've seen them played. I've never played them myself. But yeah, I used to play Star Fox 64. I never owned it. I never owned an N64 growing up, which still pains me internally when I say that out loud. But I had a friend that had it, and he was like the friend you'd go and visit. You don't really like that friend, but you know that they've got a game system you want to play.
Matt R.
But we used to play Star Fox 64 a bunch and do like the 4-player deathmatch in space or over a planet or whatever. And it was fun for what it was. So yeah, bring back Star Fox. I want to be a fox in space.
What
Please.
What if they brought it back and it was a kart racer?
That would probably make me sad.
That'd be... Well, this seems like something Nintendo would do.
That's exactly what it is. It's just like slap the hood and just be like, look at this right here. It's a kart racer.
Star Fox?
Yeah, what do you mean? Star Fox is right there.
You like the F-099, so we made Star Fox a kart racer.
Bring back Star Fox. He's fucking right there, and he's just chilling in his little go-kart.
His little go-kart. Oh, man. Speaking of games with vehicles, my last pick... okay, I just want to say right now, obviously we could talk about Mass Effect, but you could literally go to any of our other episodes and hear me talk about Mass Effect.
Do it.
I'm not talking about it because we already did it. So my last pick is going to be a game called Space Engineers on the personal computer, which I don't blame you for not having heard of it. It started out in early access in 2013 and then was in early access for 6 years until it came out in 2019, and they're still updating it like to this day. But I played it in about like 2014, 2015, I want to say. It's, in the simplest terms, it's like Minecraft in space, but instead of like an infinite world to explore, it's space and asteroids and stuff. And back in 2014, that was a really cool concept of being able to just be a spaceman out on your spaceship. And it had like survival elements where you had to like make sure you had enough energy in your suit to be able to have enough oxygen to go do stuff. And you'd have to go back and just mine stuff and craft stuff. What a great idea for gaming, right? Mining and crafting. And it was, you could play it with friends back then too. And that was super fun. We just made dumb things. Like they had a thing that was like, if you attach it, it creates gravity in whatever direction you want. So I was like, what if I just make a tunnel of nothing but these gravity things? What's going to happen? And so I spent like an hour just making a long hallway of gravity adjusting things. And I was finally like, okay, friends, let's do it. Let's go in this. And we went in and it crashed all our PCs because it was too much for it to handle.
God.
Or I was like, I'm sick of flying my ship and things damaging it, so I'm just going to make a giant cube. It's going to be nothing but metal reinforcing everything so that even if things hit me, it's not going to damage my ship because it's just a huge cube. And it turns out it's impossible to have enough fuel or thrusters to move it through space. But you just do all that dumb stuff, all that dumb stuff, and that's what's dumb, fun space stuff. I'm gonna do the lame thing and read some Steam reviews that I thought were funny.
Do it.
Yes.
One
Dumb
guy
fun stuff.
says 5,557 hours is how I feel about this game, and he has played the game for 5,557 hours on record.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
Another one says, love the game. I plummet down to earth and start gathering rocks. I use the rocks to build a base and build the base to mine rocks, so I can use the rocks to build a vehicle to go mine the rocks to bring the rack to base, so I can build a detector to find rocks to build more tech to collect rocks faster. Basically just a rock gathering and developing better tech to gather rocks faster, to build faster, and so on. And that's it. That's what the game is.
That's my favorite so far.
Yeah, that's the epitome of a space game right there. I mean, space is all about exploration and just kind of doing your own thing and rocks. I mean, it's got everything.
Yeah, that's what space games give you, is the ultimate freedom to just do whatever.
Yeah, there's something to be said about games where you can just act a fool and have a great time while doing it. That's fucking cool.
I'm having a tough time picking my last one. Ooh, oh fuck it. We'll go with Astroneer. That's a good one.
Man, how did I forget about Astroneer?
I mean, I guess you're not really in space. You're on a planet,
are.
but like, okay. Yeah, so Astroneer is like, oh, how do I explain it? So yeah, like a sand, I guess like this big old sandbox. You're on a planet. You can go wherever you want, but of course you have limited oxygen and stuff like that. But when you make your base, or I guess you can make this like ever expanding base, like the more you explore and the more minerals and cool shit that you find, the more cool things you'll unlock that you can build. Along the way, you'll have to plant down, what are they called? They're like oxygen poles or something like that. Or no. So you have, so your base basically generates the oxygen that you need to survive, but you have to build like tubes or like tethers or something that carry oxygen to you. And so all over this fucking planet, you'll see little, basically like power lines, essentially little power lines carry oxygen to you, like you're be kind of tethered off of there. But and there's this really sweet tool that you have that lets you either pull the ground up or push the ground down. And then you can also dig into the ground, of course, too. But yeah, just like I guess Minecraft, you'll use different minerals and shit to make other shit, and then like the more shit you make, like I mentioned earlier, you'll unlock more shit to make, and eventually you can make like little I guess not moon rovers, but you can make little rovers to drive around the planets. Yeah, you can make, what is it, like so you can make like a satellite or like a satellite mapping system or something, so that you can take your rocket and go to a different planet. Okay, it is space. Yeah.
Yep.
Then you got your 3D printer, which is how you make new shit and stuff like that. It's fuck. I haven't played this game in a long time, and now I really want to play it again. I think it's on Game Pass actually.
The aesthetic is so good, and the little details they did, like you mentioned, the power lines going everywhere. That does such a great job of making you realize how much you've explored and how far you've gone, because you can actually just see where the tethers go out. And your storage isn't just some blank inventory menu. You actually have to physically put them on your backpack and on your body or on those storage racks. There's no internal inventory. It's all visual, which is awesome.
And the art style is super cool too. Like instead of being realistic or like voxels and stuff like that, it's, how would you even describe it? It's like
totes adorbs.
Yeah, there we go. Totes Adorbs.
Yeah, charming is the word that I was thinking of.
Charming,
my stepson played this game a lot on the Xbox, I think it was, and he was most enamored with the idea of just flat out exploring, because when he was showing it to me, he was trying to explain like what the tethered lines are. And it's like, oh, it's my oxygen, and I'm exploring here, and I can do the thing over here, and he just loved going out as far as he possibly could and just resource managing and all that sort of stuff, and like you're saying, Aaron, well, if you don't want rocks, you can just turn it into other shit and do whatever you want with it there. And games like that give you that freedom. I mean, it's a simple concept when you look at it top down, but games like this, man, Astroneer, good shit.
It's one last mechanic they have is, like you were saying, with the digging and placing dirt, they have a thing where you can just make everything flat. You can just make the land flat, and that's great for base building. Just flatten everything, and then everything's level. You don't have to. They spent so much time making space exploration and crafting everything fun. It's not a challenge. It's not difficult. It's just fun.
Yeah, and speaking of a game that's not difficult, fun. That's probably my worst segue. Ouch.
Still better than any of ours.
That's good. Wait, you can have a redo.
Okay, let's do this. Speaking of a space game that I really, really enjoy, I think my last pick, it was one that kind of came top of mind, or off the top of my head here. I don't know if you gentlemen are Call of Dutyers all that much, but I think of the Call
Duty guy.
There you go. I think of Call of Duty like the Fast and the Furious movies. There's eventually a point where it's like, well, we haven't gone to space yet, and then someone's like, fuck it, let's do it.
Did you say space?
Space. And that brings me to Call of Duty Infinite Warfare as my final pick.
I'm so excited to hear you talk about this.
I really like this game, and I don't really play a lot of Call of Duty anymore. Like, I was hot and heavy into Call of Duty, like out of high school, Modern Warfare 2, that kind of era. Hell yeah. I'm sure you probably teabagged me at some point, because I was not good at that game.
Me either.
But I enjoy the campaigns. I'm a campaign guy. I got over the multiplayer thing. Like, just last night, actually, I was over my sister-in-law's house, and I was playing Modern Warfare 3, the new one on PS5 with my brother-in-law. And the first thing that happens is we get into a lobby, and through the PlayStation 5 controller, I hear this dude calling another dude an asshole, and his mother is a piece of shit. And the other one responds with 1v1 me, bitch. And I'm like, oh, this is why I don't play this anymore. But I always enjoyed some of the campaigns, and Infinite Warfare was one of them. And without getting into the nuances of the actual campaign, it is kind of cookie cutter for what it is. I really thought they did well with the campaign in that I love the space setting. They really developed an interesting world that you're occupying and a universe that you're in, and how they incorporated like the space quote unquote mechanics into gameplay, how gravity could influence this, or different items and things that you use will influence the gameplay and the combat. And it's like, Call of Duty is all about their gimmicks, and I was kind of skeptical. Okay, fuck, we're going into space. But the campaign was decent. The musical score was really good. I got sucked into it. And at the end, it was kind of like, all right, I went on a journey here. And I don't know, for space games, that kind of took me by surprise. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was done fairly well. The multiplayer pissed me the hell off, but campaign was pretty good.
I recommend all you listeners at home go and look up the reveal trailer for the game from like 7 years ago, because without knowing that it's Call of Duty or anything, if you just watch the trailer, you almost can't even tell it's a Call of Duty game. And I mean that in a good way. Like, I wish they would take more risks like this, because there's a part where they just go into space. Like, who would expect a Call of Duty game to go into actual space? And it's got like space battles with ships and stuff.
Yeah, it's done really well. I love the main character you play as. I can't think of his name, but in between missions, you're kind of in a quote unquote hub world, which is your main space, and you can learn more about the world if you want to by looking around your little office, or going to the tactical planning map and deciding what missions you want to go into. It's different, because other Call of Duty campaigns up to that point were just, okay, go to the next stage, go do the thing. This one gave you a little bit of, I wouldn't say freedom per se, but kind of ownership of what was going on here, and encapsulated with that space setting. It did it really well.
Yeah. Call of Duty in space. I wish they would have. I like that creativity, because now it's been the remakes of Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, which I've heard are fine, but I don't even play the Call of Duties, but I still like as a viewer seeing that creativity.
Yeah, I'm the same. I love that they're bringing back the old IPs, the OG Modern Warfare and things like that. It's fine. They're doing well-ish with it, but when I look at games like Black Ops, for instance, or in this case, Infinite Warfare, there's a lot of really true untapped potential to make a game that the fans really, honestly, they really want. But at the same time, too, looking at Infinite Warfare specifically, I mean, it's kind of cliche to just send something in space. It's to me, it's kind of like, well, I'm now out of ideas. Fucking send them to space, because what else is there? But at the same time, there's a lot of good storytelling that can be had, a lot of good game mechanics that you can put into this game. Infinite Warfare did it pretty well for what it was, but I look at it as almost a missed opportunity just because they laid the groundwork. It was there, but we never went back to it. So
yeah,
I'm not much of a Call of Dutyer, but if they put us back in Infinite Warfare, sign me up. I'll enlist.
I'm curious to see how the Microsoft acquisition affects things, because will they be given like the creative freedom to make what they want, or is Microsoft going to be like, no, this is our big money maker, just keep having it be the big money maker?
Yeah,
I want Titanfall to come back so badly.
Oh yeah,
bring back Titanfall.
Yeah, my thought though, unfortunately, is I think what's going to happen is they're just going to do what makes sense from a money standpoint, and money. Yeah, but nostalgia is fantastic, but I don't think nostalgia makes as much money as we would like it to. So we'll see. Maybe the fans will have enough voice in there to kind of bring that sort of stuff back. But well, I'm curious. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
That's it. Does anyone have any honorable mentions they want to throw out?
That. Whatever Call of Duty it was, where you start off in space, I think it was Ghosts, when you start off in space and you're shooting bullets in space, that wouldn't work, right?
Sure. Yeah, that'd work.
Would it though? Because there's no oxygen in space, and like, doesn't gunpowder react to oxygen or something? Or am I stupid?
Just don't think about it. Yeah,
that's a good question. That's a good point.
It is a good point, but I say don't think about it and just enjoy the set piece because it was awesome.
No, yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, you got to play as a dog. That is awesome. Okay.
And then there was, I think it was Modern Warfare 2, where you get to be in space for a minute when you see a missile come up over the space. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then it's like, oh, this is going to end badly for me.
Here's a new segment for the show. We're gonna think up an existing game or series. We'll put it in space. So here's my first one: Dead Rising. You're in a space colony, but with like a shit ton of zombies, like too many zombies, and you use like different space things to kill zombies. And you have like a space suit when you go out. You're on a rover. You're killing zombies. You're throwing moon rock. Shut up. You're throwing. Sorry, Tommy. You're throwing rocks at zombies. You're Dead Rising, but space. Go.
EA Sports PGA Tour in space.
Oh.
Nice. Hit that ball. Wow, my wave flies forever.
Look at that one waveform I just spat out because that was. Yeah, that ball would just fucking fly forever. Like that'd be so cool.
There's no fast forwarding time, so you just have to wait hours for it to land.
Okay, Frank. Or Nomad. Sorry.
Who?
Whoa.
Who's that guy? So. I'm kind of stealing a little bit of your thunder, Aaron, but Dead Rising made me think of Resident Evil. Only because now...
Resident Space Evil?
There you go. The plot right now is just batshit crazy in its own right, so really the next logical place would be, well, let's take it to space.
Space.
But looking at the way the narrative goes, I mean, we'd find a way to colonize Mars, everything's great up there, and then the Super Neo Space umbrella, of course, has to, experiment on bioweapons on fucking Mars, and something goes wrong, so we're at it again.
And it's like a sitcom freeze frame. They're like, umbrella, and then they're over here like they got their hands on their face, like. Then it cuts to the sitcom ending where it's like, da na 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 na, everybody loves space, da na 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 na, step by step. I don't know. I tried to make up a sitcom like ending theme song off the top of my head. But.
I barely pre-order games anymore, but if that came with a pre-order of that game and I could also get the soundtrack with that theme on it, that would be a day one purchase for me.
Okay, here's another good one for you. Full House, but it's in space. Full Space House.
Full House Space.
Space House Full?
No gravity.
Space full space house.
So stupid.
Everything's so much better when you put space in front of it. Sorry, go ahead, Tommy.
Oh, no. You're right.
Space. To quote one of our earliest episodes, space is cool.
Space is cool.
Space is great.
That's it. That's all the space games. There aren't any. If there are other space games, they're bad because we didn't mention them. Nomad, before the people leave, where can they find you and your podcast and stuff again?
Sure. So my podcast is called the Retro Wildlands, and we're on most all of the major podcasting platforms. At least I think I found them all and snuck my podcast on there. So check us out there. Or if you go to, I have a link tree, linktr.ee/Retro Wildlands. There's a couple links that'll get you to our main website, which you can listen to the podcast there. We're on all the socials because that's where all the kids are these days. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, whatever. Just search at Retro Wildlands and you will find me roaming the gaming wildlands.
Cool. Thanks for roaming our wildlands. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fun, you guys. I'm really happy to have talked about this stuff with you. And don't let what other people are saying about you. You guys are pretty all right.
Oh, it gets to me every time.
Are people talking about us? You're coming all curious now. Damn.
Aaron, where can those angry people find us on the internet?
I mean, you can send your angry emails to superpodsaga.com. That's not a real email address, but whatever. No, superpodsaga.com. All of our previous episodes, our blog, because I just wrote a blog article about the Ease series that nobody knows about. Social medias, like our Discord server and Twitter. Follow us. Support page, Patreon. Money each month, bonus episodes, early access. superpodsaga.com.
Go there now. Aaron, what are we going to talk about on the next episode?
Okay. We're going to talk about rare games.
Rare games?
And whether that means we're talking about games made by Rare or rare and hard to find games, well, that's up to you, listener. You'll find out.
You'll find out. Rare games.
Find out next
time. Look
time.
forward to that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for, sitting there and having your ear pods in and listening to the podcast.
It's going to be this is going to be like the end of a Reading Rainbow episode where he's like, hey friends, thanks for taking this trip with us. Thanks for, you've been all right.
Yeah, you have been all right. All right, bye.
Bye now.
All right, bye.